So the Caitlin Clark Team USA saga will never end until they win their gold medal. Because let's be real. We all know that with certain players that are always in the news cycle, there's always going to be another story. As you guys can tell that I'm still talking about Caitlin Clark and she hasn't played basketball in a week in a WNBA game. Before we get on to things, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 25,000 subscribers by the end of the day. We are 105 off. I don't think we're going to hit it, but that would be absolutely incredible. But ESPN yesterday, or not yesterday, sorry, was it yesterday or today? Yesterday, where they were talking about Arike Ogunbowale and why she didn't make Team USA. And Andrea Carter basically was like, well, she dropped out because we all know there's politics involved and stuff like this. But also, when Stephen A. Smith said to pick Caitlin Clark because of non-basketball reasons, he got backlash. He got huge backlash for saying that. I think he's wrong because, ironically enough, the main reason you bring Caitlin Clark for basketball reasons because she's just straight up better than Chelsea Gray. Like, the fact that Chelsea Gray is their best point guard and she can barely walk. Like, she jogs. Again, I tore my Achilles. Tore my Achilles. Came back from that. Ended up getting a blood clot in my lung. Have lung damage in my right lung. And I can still move probably better than what how Chelsea Gray can move. Whatever her injury was is a lot worse than people are saying because she can barely run out there. And she's still their best point guard. So this is what Stephen A. Smith said basically after Andrea Carter explaining the politics situation. Of course it doesn't load when I'm trying to get the video. Oh, for God's sake.
That, and that's why she withdrew her name.
I just want to make sure I'm clear, Andrea Carter. It's good to see you, by the way. When we talk about politics, right? What we're basically saying, the things that are not related to basketball itself, other ancillary things on the outside that contribute to formulating a roster. Are you saying here over the national airwaves that that actually happens, that happens all the time?
It does. Yes. Sometimes it works in players' favors. Sometimes it doesn't. That's.
And let's skip through because I don't know how much it is I can show for copyright
Go on
reasons.
someplace. So why was it a problem when I pointed out
don't
how
do that.
Caitlin
We're
Clark
still on vacation.
should have been on Team USA because I was saying it ain't.
Yeah, and ironically enough, the worst part was that even at the time, Caitlin Clark should have been there for basketball reasons. They only brought a point guard who at the time was looking like she was going to be injured for the Olympics. The only reason Chelsea Gray is playing basketball right now is because the Aces are in a bad way and she needs to be back and she wants to play in the Olympics. Chelsea Gray should not be playing basketball right now. And if they lose the Olympics, it is because of their insistence of bringing Chelsea Gray as their only point guard. Not only did they not pick Caitlin Clark, they didn't pick any of Caitlin Clark, Natasha Cloud, or Skylar Diggins-Smith. You bring one of those three. Even if you don't bring Caitlin Clark, you bring one of those three. You bring a point guard. But either way, what Stephen A. Smith's on the money, because when Caitlin Clark didn't make the team, it was all about there are more deserving players. She didn't deserve to be on the team. And then they're like, oh, she didn't go to camp. And then when people pointed out, well, the camp was on during the Final Four, and she was told it's all going to be based on her play at the start of the season. And based on her play at the start of the season, by the way, she still deserved to make that team. Was she as good as she is now? No. But they didn't have a point guard. That's the problem. They don't have a point guard. She was still a top 3 point guard in the WNBA at that time. Still a top 3 point guard. And the fact that she was still trending upwards. That is the one thing. There is no basketball or non-basketball reason other than politics why Caitlin Clark did not make that team. Caitlin Clark did not make that team because Cheryl Reeve does not like Caitlin Clark. It is very clear. That is the reason they didn't make that team. She didn't make that team. I would guarantee you that Cheryl Reeve also doesn't like Angel Reese. Cheryl Reeve does not like the circus around Caitlin Clark. If you watch the game today, they won by 27 points. They would have been up 27 points in the second quarter if Caitlin Clark was playing. I'm not joking. They would have been, Caitlin Clark would have had 25 assists in that game. Germany were terrible. All she had to do was run a pick and roll with AJ Wilson or Breanna Stewart and gotten either of them a layup on every single possession. Like, she genuinely would have she could have set every all-time Olympic assist record. Germany are terrible. They're genuinely terrible. Like, Chelsea Gray looked like she was toying with them and she can't walk. Like, it is annoying because anyone, by just saying, you know what, politics are there, it happens, like it doesn't matter, means that, especially when saying it doesn't matter then, but it mattered 2 months ago when it was Caitlin Clark and people were suggesting that, being like, oh, it's a joke saying to bring her when she's not one of the best 12, even though she was the best point guard. It's basically like, I'll always say it with the whole like Bronny situation where it's like, nepotism's fine when you like the person, nepotism's not fine when you don't like the person. For example, nepotism's completely fine when Giannis brings Thanasis around, when everyone talks about, oh man, like Giannis really benefits from Thanasis. He needs him there. When nepotism is in that way, it's cool. But when LeBron tries to bring in Bronny from nepotism, because let's be real, Bronny's not an NBA level player. It's purely nepotism why he's there. It's a huge issue because people don't like LeBron James. Simple as that. It's an issue. It's just like politics. If the politics were in the opposite way, if the politics were we're bringing Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and both of them were at the level of, let's just say hypothetically, if Angel Reese was not playing the way she is and Caitlin Clark was playing at the level that Chelsea Gray is playing right now, and both of them were brought for political reasons, then I could guarantee you Andrea Carter would have a huge problem with it. But when Enrique brings up that she wouldn't even try out because of politics, at the same time, I do think her fit for the team isn't great because, look, Enrique's All-Star game's the only time she shot over 50% in a single game this year. Not even over 50%, she shot 50%. That's the only time she shot 50% in a game this year. But it is true. It is true that there is hypocrisy there. And Stephen A. Smith's right to point it out. Because when Caitlin Clark didn't get picked, everything was about, she's not good enough, she's not ready, she's not this, she's not that. When the reality is that if you were looking at it from a purely basketball perspective, she should have been there. But you could at least make that argument back then. But also, you could also say that, and then everyone who tried to argue that she should be brought for the ratings, she should be brought for X, Y, and Z, non-basketball reasons, were being completely shut down by the quote-unquote WNBA experts. But now when Enrique brings it up, that she wasn't picked because of politics, these same WNBA experts are like, well, these other X, Y, and Z players, they deserved it from what they've done in the past. No, that's how you lose. That is how you lose. And whether it's this Olympics or whether it's the next Olympics or the Olympics after that or the Olympics after that, if you pick players based on sentiment, eventually you're going to lose. And I'm not even talking about Taurasi, because it's very clear from these games, Taurasi's a safe pair of hands. Taurasi actually knows what she's doing. Chelsea Gray can barely play basketball right now. It's not even... Brittany Griner's hurt. They're bringing an injured Brittany Griner, an injured Fee Collier, 6 shoot-first shooting guards, and a center in Brittany... Center Brittany Griner is injured and a point guard is injured. They have 6 shoot-first shooting guards because all of them have been around Team USA for a while. But yet they don't bring Ariel Atkins, who has been around that camp, who's an actual defensive specialist. You don't bring... you don't go out of your way to bring Alicia Gray. Ryan Howard. If you're going to bring a shooting guard, Ryan Howard's better than half of these players. So there are so many better players. And by the way, no one could watch that game today and say Caitlin Clark, being as the starting point guard for Team USA, wouldn't have won that game for USA by 35 points in the first half. They just didn't. They didn't play well. But it is so hard to play badly as a team when you've got a bunch of scorers. And I don't want anyone to call Chelsea Gray in 2024 the point guard. I don't think you can call her that anymore. Because, I'm sorry, there's only 1 point guard in the WNBA right now, and she wears 22 and plays for the Indiana Fever. Maybe. There might be one in Washington as well. In fairness, you can maybe argue Natasha Cloud in Phoenix. And if you want to just go all like point forward god, like maybe Alyssa Thomas. But definitely not Chelsea Gray right now.